Hello, today I'm going to show you how to propagate ivy using two methods. The first method will be pulling the plant apart at the roots, and it's most effective on well-established varieties. So it wouldn't really work on one like this that only really has one stem at the moment. In this case, I've already pulled it out of the container for the sake of time, but basically all we're going to do for this first method is we're going to find a spot where there's a good amount of root ball there, and we'll just pull it apart. And you can split one plant into two or more plants of a smaller size. Now this isn't really like making a new plant, it's just taking the same plant and reducing its size and density. So it won't look as pretty for a while as it has to regrow all the stuff you remove. But then both sides can grow into a larger plant. So all we're going to do is just find a spot, kind of work through there. It's okay if you break some of the smaller roots, just try not to break big ones. We're just looking for trying to feel around and not take the whole thing apart, and just try to take as little or as much as you need. In my case, I'm wanting to give this sample away, so I don't want to destroy too much of it. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just following this one's roots along, trying to free as much of it as I can without destroying the whole plant. And at some point you are going to have to just break it. I didn't mean to pull that one out, but it's just one stem with one root. So we'll put it in the same one as this one. I could make them two separate ones, but I don't know, that one still seems quite large. But so we'll repot that at the end. For now, let's turn our attention to the new member of our propagation. I hope this can see it. That should be a better view. Alright, so all we're going to do is I already got the soil ready, but it looks like there's a lot more root than I expected, so I'll just dump that out. Basically get your new container. You don't want to bury any leaves in the dirt, so if you have leaves like these ones, go ahead and pinch them off. Because disease can spread from the soil to the leaves and into the rest of the plant if they're buried, so it's better just to take some leaves off. Plus that way your plant can focus on regrowing its roots instead of supporting leaves with its damaged root system. Try to pack it in as you go, but don't compact it too much. You want to pack the soil in just enough that it doesn't all compact away when you water it, but you don't want it too compacted because the roots need space to grow. Also, make sure you leave space in the top for the water so it doesn't all flood out as soon as you fill it up. And there's one cutting, English ivy. And I might take my cutting off of this instead of the other part. Let's get a look at this cutting real quick. I shouldn't call it a cutting. It's not a cut. It's an entire plant from stem to root, ripped off of the roots of this one. Alright, so next we're going to select a branch to take our cutting off of. And originally I was planning to take it off of this one, but now I'm thinking I might just cut this little guy right here. And again, that one's still growing well. It doesn't matter too much which one you pick, just make sure it's healthy. I'm mostly concerned about how this plant is going to look after I cut into it. If you find one that has roots starting to grow on it, like you might be able to barely see, there's a root right there, my finger's touching and moving. They'll start rooting in the air sometimes. And if you get a piece like that, that'll root a lot easier than one that doesn't have roots. But as long as you have several nodes, such as every one of these spots where a leaf comes out or the branch turns is a node. As long as you have a couple of those under the soil, it should be enough to root. So we're going to choose, yeah, we'll still take the tall one. I'm just going to cut it about right here. Let's go and get focused in. I don't know if that was focused, but it's what we gotta work with. Excuse me. So we're gonna strip some of the leaves off toward the bottom. Probably take this larger leaf off since it'll need more water and nutrients that it's not getting from the non-existent root system. Same with this one. So we have a piece, has a couple leaves on it, but it's mostly bare. Then what you're going to want to do, make sure you have several nodes on it. And I'm just going to cut it at a 45-degree angle, making sure you have at least several nodes above it. Oh, I can do better than that. The curved blade should make it easier to cut on this angle. There we go. And after you cut it, you can kind of strip along here. I'll show you just how to do it, but it's not really necessary. What you want to do, just kind of gently scrape some of the top layers off. Don't go too deep. Make sure you get it all off. And then with ivy, that should be enough to root it as long as you keep your soil moist, but we'll go ahead and add some rooting hormone because we have it, and it should help it grow. And you don't need a lot, it just needs to barely cover it. And then you can just stick it in the soil, like so, and it should grow. This one that I broke off, I'm thinking I'm going to stick it in one of these other ones to make sure it grows, but we'll figure that out. And then you can just repot the soil, the ivy, and make it look nice and pretty. But so there's a cutting and a, I guess you could call it a root cutting or something, but it's not really cut. There's 2 English ivy plants that were made out of one. And that's all there is to it.